Okay, let's be real for a second. How many times have you tried to completely overhaul your life? Go all in, only to be totally burned out by Wednesday? Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a 90-day system that fundamentally shifts your identity. And the best part? It doesn't require some massive, exhausting life overhaul. So often we get trapped believing that real change means burning our current lives to the ground and starting from scratch. We wait for the perfect motivation, the perfect timing, these extreme, punishing routines. But the source material we're looking at today, it completely shatters that myth. It proposes a beautifully simple, honestly pretty brutal system that focuses on consistency over intensity. By the time we wrap up here, you're going to see exactly how dedicating just a tiny, tiny fraction of your day can completely reshape who you are and what you're actually capable of achieving over the next 3 months.
Right, let's dive straight into this with one single, absolutely crucial number that totally reframes how we look at daily discipline. 4%. That's it, just 4%. To put that into perspective, you probably spend way more than 4% of your day just trying to figure out what to watch on Netflix or endlessly scrolling through your social feeds. When most of us hear that we have 3 months to change everything, our brains instantly jump to dramatic overhauls, giant sacrifices, and just working ourselves to the bone. But, as you probably know, that approach almost always leads to total burnout within a week. The reality? What actually changes you isn't the massive size of the effort. It's the daily relentless repetition of a small, highly intentional one.
So think about how your 24-hour day actually breaks down. 4% is exactly 1 hour. That leaves you a massive 23-hour window for literally everything else: work, family, sleep, commuting, errands, the whole shebang. But that single 1-hour slice, that is sacred. It must be guarded like your life depends on it, because this is your protected window of time where the world does not get to decide who you are. It's the space where you stop reacting to everyone else's emergencies and finally start creating your own future. Listen, 1 hour changes everything, but only if you protect it fiercely.
Now it is incredibly easy to confuse consumption with actually building something. Imagine the stark contrast here. On one hand, you have consumption. You're lying in a dark room, endlessly scrolling social media, or maybe binge-watching outrage news. Sure, it comforts you in the moment. It kind of feels like you're doing something, right? But it actually keeps you completely stagnant. It drains the focus. On the other hand, you have the builder. This is the person actively changing their trajectory. Maybe that means working out, learning to code, writing, or finally tackling that huge problem you've been putting off forever. During your 4%, you have to step fully, completely into the identity of a builder.
But here's the catch. If you wake up, immediately grab your phone and flood your brain with 100 emails and news alerts, well, the rest of your day is going to follow that exact same chaotic script. To protect your 4%, you have to win the morning before the world interferes. And hey, you don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to do this. You just need to claim the first 20 to 40 minutes for yourself. It starts with silence. Absolutely no phone for the first 60 minutes. Don't wake up in a reactive state. Next is light movement. Just get the blood flowing. Then write down your top 3 priorities to cut through the distractions. And finally, mental priming. Take a moment for gratitude or some deep breathing so you step into the day with presence rather than panic.
Because the truth is, you cannot build a strong 90 days on top of patterns that constantly sabotage you. We all have these invisible energy leaks, right? Mental noise from outrage media, physical clutter stacked up all over our desks, or emotional vampires that just drain our bandwidth. People usually think that change only comes from adding new habits, but actual, real change, it starts with elimination. By subtracting these drains and sabotaging behaviors, you free up massive amounts of mental space before you even start your real work. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about clearing the friction so that growth naturally becomes your default path. And once you've cleared out all that noise, you unlock what is arguably the rarest, most transformative skill in the modern economy: deep focus. We live in a world that is literally engineered to shatter our attention into 1,000 invisible pieces. We are constantly multitasking ourselves into absolute mediocrity. But a fully focused hour, that produces more real progress than an entire distracted day. Deep focus is a muscle. It's the absolute ability to give your full mind and presence to one meaningful task at a time. And when you practice it during your 1 hour, you are quite literally training your brain to become unstoppable.
So how do you actually construct this 4% hour so it produces real progress instead of just, busy work? First up, define one clear intention. Not 10 tasks, just the single one that matters the most. Next, design your environment. Close those 50 extra browser tabs and physically put your phone in another room. Then fiercely protect that block of time. Make yourself completely unavailable to the outside world. And this is crucial. You have to train your mind to sit with the discomfort. When you feel that inevitable itch to check your messages or escape the boredom, you have to stay with it.
Finally, take intentional breaks to recharge. This right here is the exact architecture of a transformative hour.
During this focused hour, your main goal is deliberate practice. Because, as our source material so perfectly puts it, building actual skills creates the leverage that will change your trajectory. Look, hard work is answering 100 emails in an hour. That just makes you tired. Skill is spending that same hour learning to code, writing a chapter of a book, mastering a language, or improving your public speaking. That makes you powerful. If you spend your 90 days just checking off busy work boxes, sure, you'll feel productive, but your identity won't elevate at all. Choose a high-value skill. Practice it deliberately. Fail. Get feedback, and iterate. 90 hours of targeted growth over 3 months, that is more than enough to make you noticeably better and completely open up new opportunities in your life. Of course, true growth means we have to stop running from the things that scare us. Avoidance is the silent thief of your potential. Think about it. The things you are avoiding right now, that difficult conversation, that financial mess, maybe a really bad habit, those are the exact things that will change your life the fastest. To dismantle that avoidance, you have to name the discomfort. Separate the actual task from the emotional fear attached to it. Then simplify it down into one tiny manageable action. Give yourself a firm deadline and take that very first step today. Facing hard things head-on rewires your brain to realize, hey, I am entirely capable of handling this.
Now, when your motivation inevitably fades, and trust me, it absolutely will, you cannot rely on your feelings to judge your progress. Feelings fluctuate, and frankly, they lie to you. You need hard data. By simply tracking your daily actions with checkboxes, rating your energy each day on a scale of 1 to 5, and doing a quick weekly review of your results, you make your invisible progress completely visible. This is not about beating yourself up for missing a day. It's about seeing your actual patterns so you can adjust your strategy, rather than just throwing in the towel. Tracking turns every single week into data, insight, and undeniable proof of your momentum.
All of this, the time blocking, the tracking, the focus, it all points to one undeniable truth. Identity is built through repetition, not intention. You don't become a disciplined person just because you really want to be. You become disciplined because you repeatedly act like a disciplined person. Every single time you show up for your 1 hour, especially on the days when you are totally exhausted or completely unmotivated, you are sending a massive signal to your brain. You are casting a vote for your new identity. And once that identity shifts, your old sabotaging behaviors, they completely lose their power over you.
We've looked at the data, the structures, and the mindset required for a true 90-day reset. You now have the exact blueprint to redefine who you are. This kind of transformation isn't just reserved for the lucky or the exceptionally gifted. It is the inevitable result of claiming just 1 hour a day. So, as you look forward to the next 3 months, you have to ask yourself a serious question. Will you just repeat your past, or will you use your 4% to intentionally design your future? What will you do with your hour? The choice is entirely yours.